was, is, and will be. It's people. People who recognize that this is my podcast. My fucking podcast. Wow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Within the Flesh. I believe it's episode 19. Let me go check. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. Apologies for not uploading a podcast last Thursday. Um, my whole freaking recording went down the drain because I didn't have the right profile set up on OBS, which basically means that it did not record the audio properly in any form or fashion. So it would have literally just been my microphone blipping up and down, stuff like that. So yeah, that's that's a big buffers, you know. No. Okay, so we're on episode 20 actually. Happy 20th anniversary, everyone. Even though that's not how that works. Um, it is the 20th episode. I can't believe I made it this freaking far. I wonder how many episodes are just me talking to myself and being like, oh, Brown. Oh, man. The last podcast, man, it was pretty good. I was talking about all kinds of stuff. But I kept trying to redo the podcast episode, and it just kept getting worse and worse because I was so angry about losing the first recording. It was just one of those moments where it's like, dude, I want to die right now, okay? Long die, if you will. But yeah. I hope everyone's doing good. I'd like to talk about some stuff today. Mostly, why is it that the people are so messed up today? You know, why is it that a lot of people feel like they can't control their emotions properly? Um, I don't know. That's something that's been interesting to me. Like, I don't know if anyone else has had this issue of like just some people don't know how to keep their emotions in check. You know, it's not even like people need to keep their emotions inside. Don't ever bring them out. Don't ever show any kind of emotion or, anything like that. But it feels like everyone's very sloppy with it. Like there's no purpose. There's no fulfillment. There's no resolve to this feeling. You know? Feels like some people just built out shit without wanting to actually change it or try and do something about it. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else, but that's what I've kind of been experiencing throughout life. It's just people. I don't know. I I remember this one kind of theory, or not theory, but it's more of like, what was it? It was some kind of dating thing, and oh yeah, I know what it is. I know it's like where most of my conflict comes from. It comes from YouTube short videos where I'm watching them in bed and I'm like, wait a second, what the F is this, man? I remember now though. Um, what was it? It was about, I think I've brought this up on the podcast before, but it's that uh, it was a Reddit question and they're like, women of the internet, what do you wish more men would do? Or what do you think we should change? Blah, 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 right? Um, I think one of them said that when they talk about a problem with you, they don't want a solution, they just want to talk about it. And I don't know, that's very perplexing to me. It's very confusing, I suppose, because it's like, why, why do this then? Not to be one of those types that's like, there has to be logic within this. Like, some people just want to talk and feel stress relief and all that, but if there's nothing being done, why would you want that? I don't know. Like, why continue to have that kind of feeling when you could stop it or somehow work on it, you know? I know a lot of people are busy nowadays, but I feel like there's always some amount of time for self improvement. Or at least I would hope so. I think maybe the reason why I think that is because I'm someone who is very, you know, self reliant in that aspect. Like emotionally and mentally, I feel very content with myself. I feel very good with where I am, you know, and how I feel about things. Like, I don't know. Growing up, I had to deal with like a lot of stuff, which isn't really the worst. I suppose it's comparative to how other people had it growing up, but you know, it was a lot of stuff I had to deal with by myself, and I didn't really have anyone to turn to or to kind of weigh that stuff on. And I don't know if that's called bottling it up, but I feel like I resolved it in a somewhat healthy way. Any kind of dramatic stuff, there was always some kind of purpose to try and resolve, to try and discuss with my inner self, I suppose. Not to get too much of a hippy dippy on all of you, but that was basically it. It was very much like take in this information, whatever has happened, and to learn from it and see what was the issue or what else could happen. You know, kind of just examine the whole thing as is. But a lot of people nowadays, it just seems like they don't want to do that. Or, like, even if they do have some kind of resource, as in, like, someone to talk to, such as me or other people, it seems like they just want to talk about it rather than work on it, which I find, again, very perplexing. I just don't understand that kind of mindset, I suppose, where you would want to continue to be that, I guess, issue. Like you want to continue to have that issue rather than to touch on it. Like I'm not saying, "Oh, just a few days ago your grandma died. Why don't you want to talk about how your grandma died?" You know, I'm talking like ages and ages ago something traumatical happened to them or something happened to them that affects them to this very day and they don't want to talk about it. You know? Like in a way that helps them. It's not even a issue of, oh well, I can't open up about this because it's a very personal issue. At least the people who I have dealt with, they have trusted me quite a bit to talk about an issue they have, but not to the extent of actually working on it. It is more like, let me let me transfer this to you, right? But don't try and give me any advice and or suggestions on what I can do about it. I just want to talk about it. And I don't know. It's just so confusing to me why someone would want to do that. Like, at least for me, with my own issues, the times that I have gone to other people or have discussed my issues with someone in a similar manner because they also suffered that, we have tried to work out the reasoning behind something or how to move on from it or how it affects us still. You know, there has always been a, how can there be some amount of progress, some kind of development with this issue, so that way we can get past it and move on. But a lot of these other people, it's I don't know. It's kind of rude to say, but it really does seem like they are wanting the attention. It's almost as if they enjoy having pity or something like that. And I know that's a very arrogant and very disrespectful thing to say about those people, but it really does feel like that. You know, you don't have to like resolve everything in one go, but you have to make some amount of progress in order to, change things for the better. And obviously, if, there's no amount of like, oh, well, I am too prideful. I don't want to ask for help because obviously you're coming to someone to talk about the issue. So I kind of view that as some form of help in a very minute and minor way. Something that doesn't really help out that much, but it's still helpful. I don't know. It's just very interesting to me. I I suppose for an example, I had to deal with losing a group of friends about last year or the year before, and it affected me quite a bit. It affected how I treated people around me. It affected my ideology. It kind of changed every little bit about me, and I changed it in order to move on and to accept what has happened and what I will be in the future. I have now been able to, you know, call people friends. It's still a pretty uncomfortable word for me, but before I would not call them friends at all. And I can now understand, uh, you know, not calling someone a friend and what that can do to them. It's a very selfish thing to do, because it affects the person who wants a friendship with you in a big way. I suppose in comparison, it's almost like being dumped at like prom or something. you know, it's like, hey, you wanna hang out? It's like, no, we're not friends. It's like, oh, no, no. My way of thinking with that is very different initially, but it's changed since then. I used to think of it more as there's no reason to label something as friendship or to have friends because I'm hanging around you. I talk with you. I'm interested in what you're talking about and we chat back and forth. Do I really need to call you a friend? I don't know. When we talk about that, then it kind of makes me want to get into grouping things and how it's both a negative and a positive. How it can be like good and also bad, which I feel like the labeling of a friendship, or friend falls into that as well. There's positives to it, there's negatives to it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little lonesome man who's like, man, I don't want the responsibility of having to handle friends or to know that my actions, I'm responsible for them. That now I have to kind of have an alignment, I suppose. I think that's probably the biggest issue, at least with that. We'll get back to people not being able to handle their own stuff, but I do think that's still one issue that I have with the whole friends or friendship kind of thing going on is that it almost feels like you have to be on that person's side. You have to have some kind of loyalty to that person. Where I don't know, I kind of don't feel that, as odd as it may sound. For me, loyalty is, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe it, I suppose. I was gonna say loyalty is earned, which is true, but also I don't know. It just doesn't really matter to me all that much. I believe in individualism. I believe that people should be who they are deep down. It's I don't know. I suppose it's a relation where I'm like, no, you don't get the benefits of, calling me a friend or having me be loyal to you. But if you dare do something that I don't like, then you will reap the the punishment, I suppose. Um because I was thinking in comparison to my whole rule when I stream, which is that if you don't like the video game or if you find the stream boring, then don't watch it. Don't arrive. Don't force yourself to fucking look at it, right? And a lot of people have taken that to heart, and they're like, "Okay, I won't show up then." But then these people, they come back around and they're like, "Oh yeah, give me special treatment." It's like, why would I give you special treatment? You haven't been around. Like, what did you expect was going to happen? Um, so I guess there's a little bit of a caveat there. You know, it's very much one of those. Well, you don't have to, but you're gonna pay for it. I don't know how else to describe it besides that. That's very much I'm trying to think of the situation where that is. Like you know, I think it's like a parent moment, you know? Like when parents tell their kids, "Yeah, no, you can do that, but you're going to get fucking beat once you get home, once you do." I don't know. That's like the best example I can come up with. But um yeah. I don't know how we got to that. I suppose I was talking about friendships and then the responsibility and then the loyalty of it. And I was like, man, this bibble babble. And that all came from um, people just not being able to control themselves or their emotions more. Um, like just a few hours ago, I was on the phone with my mom, and she was kind of weird. Like, you know how you talk to someone and you can tell something's off, you know. And eventually I was like, yo, what's up with you? And she just started crying and all that. And she's like, oh, I don't feel happy in my relationship, right? And it's like, I don't care. And you're sitting there and you're like, did he just say that? What the F? Bad son, worst son. I hate this man, right? But then you have to consider this is like the eighth time I've had to hear about this, right? Um, and there's been her kicking out her boyfriend, re-inviting him back in like 3 times. So you know this ain't the first time, right? And I just like eventually you're just like, holy fuck, I don't care anymore. Just shut up already, you know? And I think that's how I feel about a lot of situations where people would like help. Like I guess I should have started off with that, or at least included that into the introduction of this. But it feels like, I'm willing to put in the effort to try and help someone deal with like personal issues or something else like that. But if you come back with the same issue because you haven't done anything to change it or to make a concrete effort in changing that, then what do you want me to do about it? You know? What would you like me to do about it? I can't do anything about it. Come on. Um I think that's what gets me the most. It's just repetition of a subject that just never changes, you know. There's no slight variation, you know. It's all just the same, I suppose. And it makes me like, I don't know. I suppose it feels almost insultatious that people come back with the same issue. It's almost as if like they don't listen to your advice. It's, again, we'll come on back to like the beginning point that I was talking about. It almost feels like some of these people do it for attention, or they do it because they like the drama of it, you know? And it just doesn't make sense to me, you know? I just don't understand it. Truly. I just don't. Um and I guess to wrap up that whole discussion is that, for me, again, I went through my own kind of traumatic experiences. I've had things that are bad happen to me. I've had to deal with a lot of issues that, I shouldn't have had to deal with at that time in my life, but I still had to do it. But you don't see me going up to people and saying, "Oh, well, let me tell you about this." And then I'll tell you about this, but maybe with like slight variations for the next 20 times we talk, you know? I feel like that's a very selfish thing to do. I don't know. Maybe it's because we live in the era, or we've lived through the era where everyone's all like, everyone needs to speak up. You don't have to be afraid to talk to people. There's always someone you can talk to, you know? And it's like, that's great and all. Definitely do that. But you have to also be in control of your emotions and to try and deal with the things that you have been dealt with, you know? Like, shit, you know? Let me take a drink of water. Okay, sorry about that. Um, I suppose another example of that is that um, growing up, I did not have the best of the best. I won't say that I was poverty or anything like that. I would say I was very much the bottom to middle lower class. I would say, like, we definitely did not have fancy this, fancy that, but we did have like internet connection. We had our cell phones. Now, was it a struggle from bill to bill? Did we have to kind of really scramble all over the place in order to make sure those bills were paid? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about that. But um, I kind of recognized that as a kid that things weren't going to get better, unless I made the effort of it, but if I don't make the effort, then why should I expect anything else to change, I should be comfortable with where I am in life in order to not become obsessed and crazed over new items or new things, like I don't know. My PC recently got upgraded and it's been fantastic. It's been crazy. My PC, last time the motherboard and CPU had been put in or changed or anything like that was all the way back in 2013. 2013. How many years ago was that? I feel like that's what, 11 years or something? I don't know. Yeah, 11 years, I think. I don't know. Do the math. Um, but I was perfectly fine with it. Like, it wasn't the best. It was pretty bad, to be honest, but you kind of just become adjusted to that, you know? I don't think that's too bad. In fact, I think it's pretty good, uh, you know, for the sake of others. Like, I'm a very simple person growing up and living my life, and, I can eat the same dinner for like the whole month or like or something like that, and you won't hear me complain, you know? It's not to say that I don't have my own ways of life, that I'm like, oh, well, I'll just sacrifice everything. There are some things I just won't do, you know, but it's very much, I don't know. How do I continue to talk about this without sounding like, oh, I'm so humble. Oh, I sacrificed everything. Oh, like, obviously, I didn't do that. There are a lot of times throughout my childhood and my life where I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna get the bigger piece of the pie here, and to everyone else, good luck. um, an example of that is that my mom got like, what was it? You know, Facebook sales or places like that where people are just selling bulk items. She got like a big ass thing of 2 containers of soap, Dove soap bars, which I use and I love it, right? And she's like, "Oh, I got two. Here you go." And then I took them, right? And she's like, "Oh, by the way, did you want to give any of those back so you know my roommate can have some?" And I straight up was like, "No, these are mine now." Like I just straight up took them. You know, she offered. She's like, "Yeah, I got these as well. Uh, here you go." And I was like, "Yoink!" You know. But there have been many times as well where I was like, "Oh no, everyone else can, you know, have a better time than me," you know, and I became I became comfortable with it, as I feel like a lot of people should, you know. Um, but there's there was an incident lately where I just saw the most the worst attitude ever. I won't name the person by name, but my God, like as someone who grew up with like the bare minimum, the very 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 bare minimum, like you know, I'm gonna have a motherboard and CPU all the way from 2013, and I'm gonna be a okay with it, baby. Um, Seeing this person just have so much disgust towards getting a free upgrade, even though it might not be the best, even though it might not be fantastic, right? Seeing them get this upgrade for free, no cost, nothing, zilch, nada, right? And they're like so fucking they just hate it. They hate it so much, and it made me so embarrassed and so confused and angry. It stirred up so much emotion inside of me that made me just angry. Like I wanted to scream at them. um, like my graphics card, right? I used to have a 980 Ti, right? Well, eventually it shit the bed, right? Um, and I got a new graphics card from a friend, right? It's a 1070, right? I had to pay $70 for it. And admittedly, that's not a whole lot, but it is still money, right? And I could have been a little slimy little toad, and I could have been like, thanks, but this fucking sucks, man. I wish I had a 3090 or I don't know what the most recent card was then. Maybe like a yeah, maybe a 3060 or something like that. But I didn't, I didn't even have that thought. Like even as I say it now, maybe some of you are like, "Oh, so he's expressing what he really thought then, huh?" No, never. I was so appreciative of that person. I was like, "Thank you so much, you know. I really appreciate this." Cuz they didn't have to sell that to me, especially for that low of a price. No way, man. But they still did. And this was, mind you, during the graphics card apocalypse, you know, where the cheapest of the cheap was selling for like $300. But I would have never in my life imagined like spitting on them and being like, this is a fucking horrible graphics card. This is wretched. You should feel bad for letting me buy this from you, asshole. Oh no. Um, it was just so there's something so disgusting about that behavior that I hate. I hate so much. Um, growing up, a lot of people wanted to call me a spoiled child because my mom took care of me, whereas Like, it was mostly my uncle complaining about it. He'd be like, "Oh, he's spoiled," right? Because they fucking lived in a car growing up and all that. But my mom actually took care of me for the most part. Um, and it's, you know, it's just crazy to imagine someone so spoiled and so ungrateful for what they have in life, you know? It's just crazy. Um, I'm sorry. I keep being like, "Oh, I'm so stunned. I'm so crazy." I'm not trying to do that for like an extra effect or something like that. It's just how I genuinely feel about the situation. In that it's like this behavior, it's I don't know. It's kind of like how some people look at pedophilia or like furries or some other kinks or shit like that, you know, or murder, right? How some people look at that and they're like, "Ugh, that's fucking gross," right? Which admittedly they are. That is very true. But this is my like, that's so fucking disgusting. That makes me want to like punch someone. Oh no, I really just do not like spoiled people. It doesn't matter like where you are in life. You could be on the very most bottom, right? And you're not going to act grateful. That just makes me so mad. It makes me so angry, I suppose. Um and to continue on with that, cuz I don't want to keep just going in a circle, but that same person, they called uh the person who gave them a free graphics card update, right? They called that person, or I suppose it was him or his brother, and they called them privileged because that person's brother went to, what was it, Dunkin' Donuts? And a homeless person came up to him and was acting very rude and was demanding money from him. And he didn't give him any, right? Or I don't think it was even money, it was food, right? He was demanding it. And he even called the person's brother a racist for not wanting to help them out, right? And like that person who had that reaction to getting a free graphics card called them privileged. And I don't know. Something in me just feels disgusted by it, I suppose. I feel very icky thinking about that kind of reaction. Like, it's not even a middle of the road, like, oh, well, it's a shame you didn't help them. But to be fair, that person should have came up to you and tried to, be so aggressive about, you know, getting something from you. But it was full on like defending the homeless person and being like, "Oh well, I don't know, people in trouble. You never know with them. I don't know. You should have been much more nice to them." I don't know. It's very it's very odd behavior. I'll put it like that. It's very odd behavior to me that someone can act like that. I suppose it's just being appreciative of things that you have. Like, I don't know. I appreciate everything that I have. I think you can appreciate it while also desiring more. I think that is something you can do. Don't get me wrong. If you're living in a cardboard box, or if you do have, let's take the actual real life issue with, a different look at it. Say you do have just a minimal graphics card update, right? You can still desire to want more, but, be subtle about it, or be like, well, thank you very much for helping me out and giving me a new graphics card. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, sometime in the future, I might be able to get a new one. That's just a natural reaction, right? it's like, thank you. I will continue to desire for a new one, though, right? But it seems almost like a 180 to receive something and then to turn back around and spit on that person. And feel free, anyone who's listening, to comment and be like, actually, that's kind of stupid. You're dumb. That's not how things are. Dumb bitch idiot, right? I'd be more than happy to try and discuss that and see what the perspective that you have is. But, um, I've always just been appreciative of things that I've gotten, despite how small or how big it is. It's I feel like uh you have to have some kind of humility, I suppose. You have to be like, oh, let me go see if I'm even using that word correctly. listen, listen. I know how the word work, okay? But I need to make sure that this is the appropriate kind of scenario to use it in. A modest or low view of one's own importance. Humbleness. There you go. You need humbleness. You need to be humble about it. Like, oh no. It's kind of like that, what that one person was saying about the homeless person. Like, maybe if that homeless person was much more humble, you know, maybe people would be more willing to help out. Maybe those kinds of actions of being not very humble continues a stigma, continues a issue within that makes it where you are less likely to be helped because of that. I don't know. I now that I've discussed the one side of disgust towards it, I'll also go ahead and present the other side, or what I believe what the other side deals with, which is that um I imagine it probably feels like a sinking ship, right? Or like that's the only appropriate way I could imagine that going down. And even then, again, it's like you should have some humility, or you should have some humbleness towards this situation. But like, if you're homeless, right, and you haven't eaten for like 3 days or 2 days, right, or say you're homeless and you have children, and it's like, man, I just need something. I need something really badly, right? You can't really rely on someone else's charity too badly, you know. Sometimes you might have to push your need for something and really put it out there. But, you know, again, it's, I don't know how how, how can you still be so rude, you know? I For me, I have been to a food shelter more than once. Um because my home did not have food, right? Um and I was always very appreciative of whatever I got. It doesn't matter if it was like stale bread or anything like that. I was always very appreciative of it because the thing is that those people don't have to do that. It is a act of charity. It is an act of, you know, being good, being nice to someone who's down on their luck or who, you know, just needs that kind of service. You know what I mean? And to just to just be like, that's like if I went into like a soup kitchen or something like that. For those of you who don't know what a soup kitchen is, it's usually a place that is for homeless people, so that way they go there and they can get a warm meal at least once a day or something like that. Um, that's like if I went into a soup kitchen and they gave me like soup, and I was like, "This isn't steak. I mean, this is shit soup. I could have a steak right now." And it's like, dude, what the fuck do you mean? it's, oh no, oh no. It's just crazy to me. Just nuts. That's crazy. But enough of that. I don't want to keep going on that. So let's see. We learned about how people don't know how to deal with their issues or their emotions as much anymore. We then had talked about appreciation and humility. What else can we talk? Sorry, I was looking at my desk to see if there was any black ants. I've been having ant issues, and I hate ants so very badly. I have a fear of ants somewhat. Like I'm not gonna do the overreaction and be like, "Aye, what is this?" You know, if one's crawling on me, but I have that big like disgust face where I'm like, "Ugh, what is this?" um, fucking hate ants. I hate them so much. I really do. It's it's just it freaks me out so much. There's this one scene in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but there's a scene in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull where like they're driving through the forest or something like that, and then they crash like on top of a big ant colony or something like that. The ants come out, and the Crystal Skull is like, brum, 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 brum. It's keeping the ants away, right? And there's like a little circle and all that to make sure no ants get in. And Indiana Jones and some Nazi are like fighting it out, duking it out, right? And Indiana like beats the shit out of him and pushes him into like the ants. And it is such a terrifying scene. The ants just like crawl onto the Nazi man and then into his mouth and into his eyes, and it's, I don't know. I think it got to me as a kid or something like that. Ants are just terrifying to me. It's the fact that it's kind of like cockroaches, I suppose. I've never dealt with cockroaches, but I've heard that where there's one, there's like a million others, right? And it's that fear that there's something else that's there, you know? There's this fear that some kind of there's always going to be a next one. You know, it's not like a spider. A spider, you kill it, it's gone. You know, maybe there will be another sometime, but it's not like an instant guarantee. It's like, oh, maybe there will be one in a month or a few weeks from now. Who knows? Ants, though, fuck that, dude. You kill one, and then like the next half a second, maybe another one comes out, and it's like, hey, what's up, man? What'd you do? It's like, dude, please get the fuck away from me. I'm so terrified. Oh no, I don't know. It's a fear is an interesting to like understand what the fear is, you know, to kind of be like, why do I have that fear? Again, for me, I think most fear comes from childhood uh, problems more than likely. Like, you know, someone who grew up in a loud household where there was lots of fighting might fear loud noises or something like that. For me, I just I grew up with a lot of ants in my home, and it makes me fucking furious each time I see them because it's just so fucking horrible. I'll tell you all a little story. Um, Back when I lived not in the previous home, but in the previous home, um, I remember I had donuts, like some donut holes from the store, and usually I just kept snacks in my room because I didn't want to have to go all the way back downstairs, grab the snack, come all the way back upstairs, right? It was a little bit of a being lazy situation. Um and I remember I set them underneath my desk, and they were in like a plastic container, so nothing should have gotten to them, right? And oh my god, sorry, I'm having a freak out just thinking about it. Um, the next day I was like, oh yeah, I have donuts under my desk. Let me go ahead and grab them. And I'm in a dark room because I like just having a nice little dark room to play video games and do my stream on, right? And I can't remember if I had eaten one already, but eventually I felt something on my hand. It was like 2 or 3 ants. I was like, what the fuck is this? Right? Those donuts were coated in fucking ants. And I was so fucking terrified. Like, I don't know. This is way after the whole Indiana Jones thing. This is like a few years ago and all that. And it just freaked me the fuck out. It just makes me fucking terrified. You ever see those old animated shows or movies? Like, let's say Dumbo, right? And it's just elephants that are scared of tiny little mouses, right? That's me with ants. Like, I'm a big boy. Me, a big boy, right? But ants are fucking tiny. They can be anywhere, and you know that if they're there, they're fucking like 20 million others that are coming after you or something. I think on Facebook I was like, I hate ants, and someone was like, "Oh, why is that?" And I'm like, "Listen, man, if one gets inside your nose, it's over. You're done for." Which is kind of true. You have to think of it like that. Kind of true. They say an ant crawls inside of you, boom, you're dead, instantly dead. Boom, you're instantly dead. The end. No, but I don't know. It's just crazy like that. I was it? It was fucking bitch. Sorry, I'm thinking. Oh yeah. So right now, currently, I've seen quite a few black ants on my desk, which is also black, which is bullshit. Because now I can't see them most of the time. But um, all the way in the bathroom, like I was taking a shower and I saw one crawling on the fucking shower curtain, and it's like, dude, how are they this fucking far over here? Like, there's black ants in my fucking um in my kitchen. There were a ton of black ants in my kitchen. And it's like, dude, where are they all coming from? Dude, please. It just never stops, it feels like. Um but yeah, that's basically my little story with ants. Sorry I had to like hijack most of the podcast with that. It's just I felt like I needed to talk about ants. You know what I mean, honey? Sorry. But I think that will be a good podcast. Oh wait. It's time for the Q&A. Let's go grab some Q&A questions from my Discord. Sorry. Um Again, if anyone's listening and you would like to have your own questions answered, please feel free to comment in the YouTube description and be like, this is I hate you, die. Right? I will kindly say that doesn't make sense. Oh, long die. But where is it? I'm trying to find it. Oh, here we go. Forum, podcast questions. Oh, you can also join my Discord and post them there. If you have any questions, of course. Let's see. So we have 3 of them. With by Bin Killer, right? First question is, why are so many adults, or what? Yeah. Why are so many adults have trouble being a functional human being? I think I pretty much covered that in like the first little bit of my podcast, but I'll go ahead and reiterate it here. And it's that I feel like a lot of people just didn't have a lot of support in their life, maybe. I don't know. I remember the podcast that got fucked up. I may have said a different answer, possibly, but currently this Justy is answering with, I think a lot of people just didn't have a lot of support growing up, and they had to try and figure out things by themselves, I suppose, or something like that. I don't know. I think people just don't want to learn. I think that's the real issue. It's like, you know, we can go with the boomer way of it and be like, a lot of people, the reason why they don't know how to change a transmission or change their oil or anything like that is because they just don't want to learn. They don't need to. There's people that'll do it for them. And I feel like that's maybe how it is with emotions and thinking as well. Why would you want to, form your own opinion over a topic, or to, you know, have some kind of concrete discussion about something if you can just rely on someone else's thoughts, you know? Like, why do this when you can just be like, oh, funny YouTube man says it instead? I don't know. I don't know why people are not able to function as themselves. Like, my mom is, what, I think 52 years old or something like that, and she still hasn't fucking figured out life. Like, again, I hope I'm not coming off as a fucking, I'm so humble, I'm so great. But I feel like I don't bother people with my issues as much as some other people do. Like, of course I still do sometimes. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'm so sad about this. Oh, I need to vent about this and all that. But at least with the people around me that I ask for help from, I will take what they say to consideration and apply it um to life, you know. And if I don't take their advice in life, I sure as fuck won't complain to them again, you know. Like, I will admit the only time where I feel like I have done that is with anxiety, you know. But I have slowly kind of come to terms that I can't keep just pushing that on other people and being like, is everything gonna be okay? Is everything gonna be okay? You know, I need to take care of that and to kind of like stop putting that on other people to deal with. Um, Go ahead and read the second question. What are your triggers that make you freak out? Uh with that one, it's absolutely, it has to be like, I don't know how to say this in a not rude way. So I'll just say it in a rude way, and that'll be that. It's stupid people. It's just dumb people. I don't know. It's not really that. If you're a dumb person and you want to learn, you are a million times better than people who just are dumb and choose to be dumb about stuff. Like, it just doesn't. I don't know. I suppose for me, it's my tism of just like people not making sense in a way that I would be able to comprehend. I suppose it is some amount of, like, I don't know. I suppose I would call it insanity. I would call it like being retarded or something. As much as a bad word as that is, I truly do feel like some people are like that sometimes. Like, I know for me, uh one incident I can recall is way back when I was streaming Pikmin. We were talking about, what was it? Graphics tablets and drawing programs and all that. And Fox P2 was there. And Fox P2, he's a good buddy, right? Um but we just don't agree on the one topic of, like, if you are using an art program, He's like, do not use smooth brush. Do not try and do any of this. You need to do it all by hand. You need to do it step by step. You know, it's not even like step by step. You need to have like a concrete plan or something like that. It's like, yeah, make it so fucking difficult for yourself, so that way you can struggle. You know, like what was it? I was saying that people should use the smooth brush, or what is it? I think it's called smooth brush. It's basically where it will slowly draw behind where you are drawing or something like that, so that way you can make smooth lines. And he basically said, no, don't do that. If you do that, you're cheating, you're a pussy. He probably didn't say it like that. He probably was like, you should do it yourself in order to improve your own skills, so that way you don't have to rely on that. But my counterpoint is that it's a thing within the fucking program. Why wouldn't you use it? You know? And then I think that just kind of gets into the whole debate of like, I don't know. I'm trying not to have a freak out here, but it really does strike me as one of those situations. Oh, you think that using a fucking digital tablet is cheating when it comes to drawing? Why don't you go back to fucking chiseling stones then, fucking bitch? You know. Again, I apologize. You know, it that's just like my big trigger is just people being tism mode. You know, and it's like, what do you mean? You know. What was another one? I'll give another one. I was in the Hagrid server. I was in a Discord call with them, and I don't know how, but they started talking about religion, and I got so fucking crazy. Like I started laughing. I started crying from how hard I was laughing. But they were talking about like how people used to live to like 400 years old, like humans used to live until they were like 400 years old, and how like what was it, humans were also like with the dinosaurs, they just like, oh no, they hunted them. What was it? I think one of them said that like the real reason why dinosaurs went extinct is because of fucking, what was, oh my god, it was being overhunted by humans. I literally fucking bursted out laughing because that is so crazy to me. And the reason why I wasn't angry about it, why I wasn't triggered by it, I suppose, is that it's not coming from a place of actual hostility. It's not a bit of pride. It is someone who is expressing their knowledge. It's like if a kid came up to you and said, yeah, well, I believe the tooth fairy really does exist, and they took my teeth last night, and they put a quarter under my pillow, right? You might laugh at that. You might be like, ah, ha, ha, oh, Jimmy, you little boy, right? But that thing was just so crazy to me, that statement. Like, people living to fucking 400 years old, and that they were living with dinosaurs, or not living with them, like the fucking Flintstones, but they hunted them down to extinction. That is just so crazy to me that someone would be able to think like that. And again, people have a right to their own belief, I suppose, but I have a right to make fun of it. No. No, but I will laugh at it when given the opportunity. That's some funny shit. Okay. Last question. If you could change one law in your native country, what would it be? Oh, dude. Instantly, like instagib, like instantly, right? Remove the requirement for insurance on everything, dude. Every single fucking thing ever. I don't care if it's actually good on some things. I don't care. Get the fuck out of here, man. I hate insurance requirements by law. Talk about fucking big stupid man mode, okay? I want to die. I want to die when some kind of fucking insurance thing pops up and all that. It's like, dude, die. Long die. Dumb idiot man. Like, I don't know. It just makes me so angry that you are required by law to have a middleman take care of shit. You know, it's like, let me not have fucking car insurance, dude. If I get in a car crash, if I'm in a wreck, I will pay that person. You know, obviously, if I have fucking money to pay for a car and for gasoline, of course I will just fucking pay them, right? Like, let the fucking court decide that or something like that, you know? Don't fucking have a like either let it be up to the individuals that were in the crash together in order to decide what is reasonable, right? Or if that doesn't work and one of them's like, I you like a bastard, you know, just be like, okay, let's take this to court and let the judge decide then and there, right? Why is it that it has to also go through a fucking insurance company? Like, voila, I want to die. I don't know. Sorry. But yes, to sum up that answer, let's sum up all three answers, shall we? So what was the very first one? What was it? Well, actually, let me just talk a little bit more about insurance. It's again just so crazy to me that we are required to have insurance by law. You have to have a middleman by law for everything. For health, for car, for home, for boat, for fucking whatever, dude. It just doesn't make sense. It's the most illogical thing in my country ever, or in humanity in general. It just does not make sense to me at all. It's like, dude, fuck off. Okay. So to sum up all three uh questions, why are so many adults having trouble being functional human beings? I think it's a lack of support. I think it's a lack of wanting to learn and to try and develop. I think people get very comfy where they are in life, and then surprise, surprise, because they don't ever evolutionize past that point. Sorry, not evolutionize, but they don't ever learn and develop past that point. They are stuck in that mindset and the inability to either control their emotions or to try and have a mature discussion over something like a dispute. You know, these people just kind of they stand still throughout time. You know, you have to let go of the past incidents in order to move on. People. Number two, what are your triggers that make you freak out? Absolutely, it just has to be crazy, like reverse logic, I suppose. I don't know what else you would call it. Just craziness. Um I just don't know what you would call it. Like I'm trying to figure out what the word would be for it, but it's just like without trying to be insultatious about it. I'm trying to find a word cuz just straight out I'd call it being retarded, you know. It's just crazy to me. Um and it gets me each and every time because I have a full freaking freak out over it, you know. um, and finally, if you could change one law in your native country, what would it be? Insurance requirements. Definitely would not have insurance legally. Uh, that's so stupid. You can still get insurance in my ideal world, but it's not a requirement. It's not by law anymore. If you get insurance right and you pay like a deductible or whatever, right? Not deductible. I don't know. You pay the monthly rates or whatever. and you get in a car crash and they cover like most of your fucking car, that's fantastic. That's great. And say you crash into someone who doesn't have it and they have to pay for all of it out of pocket, I'm perfectly fine with that. But to make it a requirement, that's fucked up. And I think that's big old stupid time. .jpg. Especially with how some people, some insurances will try and weasel their way out of helping or paying. Like they will try and find a loophole. But yeah, insurance needs to go bye bye. Thank you very much. Uh, but that will be it for the podcast, everyone. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed watching. Um, hopefully the audio recorded, because if not, I'm gonna have a fucking crazy time, baby, and I'm just gonna post this, and it's gonna be a literal nothing podcast. But yeah. Hopefully everything's okay. I did do a test recording. It should be good. Hopefully everyone enjoyed listening. I feel like I did good with this, keeping it concise, keeping it going. Bada bing, bada boom. We talked about, uh, I suppose, dealing with your issues, dealing with your emotions, and then also appreciation and humility, and ant phobia or whatever. But yeah, thank you again, everyone, for listening. Please go feel free to check out all my other podcast episodes, maybe even the ones where I talk with other people. So, yeah, I love you all. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Toodaloo and boo bye. See ya.